So, time to send the token with each request we issue in our Angular 2 application to take advantage of the additional security measures we set up on the backend. Now, I want to send the token in my messages service here, where I reach out to my message-related routes, which are the routes I'm protecting right now. I want to add a token for sending or for creating a message and for updating and deleting it. Not for getting though, this route is not protected. So how do I send a token? Let's start with the add message method here. I will create a new constant and name it token. And here I want to first check if I do have a token in my local storage. So I can simply say local storage get item token and then check if this exists. So by adding a question mark, I will only reach the following code if this is not null. If it is not null, I want to set the token constant equal to a string which says question mark token equals, and then the actual token I can now retrieve since I just checked if it exists, like this. So I will just restructure this over multiple lines to make it easier to read. Here we have the else statement where I simply set this equal to an empty string. So why do I use this setup? Because now in the case of an existing token, I automatically set up this query string which I want to append to the end of my URL. So here where I set up my URL, I will simply add plus token. And this is either an empty string, so nothing, or it is my query string where I set up token equals and then the actual token stored in my local storage. And with that, I'm sending my token with each request. Now I can simply copy my token here and go down to the update message method here, where I also need to append it. Here the important thing is to append it after the message ID. This is important because you don't want to overwrite this. This parameter is expected in this position. And of course also pass it for the delete route, also after message ID. With this, let's recompile these changes here and then head over to the application. And right now I should be logged in, so let's create a new method here. This looks great, it seems to work. If I reload, let's see if it persists. Looks great. Now let's also check it in our Mongo shell. If I here run db messages find, we see the new message and we see that the user ID field is populated, so this worked. And now let's see if the message was added to the array of messages on the user. Looks great, the messages array does have a new ID, and if we compare IDs, this ID matches this ID of the message. And of course the same is true for the user ID and the user ID down here. So we see that our mapping works, that we're now able to create new messages, and just to show this again, that if I log out here and I create a new message now, I get an error and the message is not created. Now let's also see if deleting works. Nope, we get an error. Of course it disappears here, but as soon as we reload, it's back because, well, we don't check on the front end if the user is authenticated. We will add this soon, but on the back end, we're making sure we're not able to delete it. But as soon as I do log in again, and now I click delete, this looks better. Now it's gone. And now let's see if it was also removed from the array of messages on our user. Looks great, the messages array is empty, which means we're not storing any reference to any message which no longer exists. With that, we set up the basic route protection on the backend. We're able to work with that. But of course, it would be nice if we only see the options on the front end which we actually have. So for example, if we are authenticated and create a new post, this is great, but then as soon as I log out, I shouldn't see the add and delete buttons because I'm not able to use them anyways. So this is some fine-tuning we need to implement here. Also, we want to replace this dummy here with the actual username. Additionally, right now, if we create multiple users, let's say I create another one, test22, and then which has this other email address, so a new user was created. And now I sign in with this user. I am able to delete this. So now we don't have any protection at all. I can delete the messages of other users. So that's also something we need to fix. So still a couple of work left here. Let's start by making our backend protection a little bit stronger and ensuring that only the user who created a resource is able to delete or edit it.